Guys, Ron Harris here, Muscular Development. Dust has settled. It's been a couple days since the show. Hard to believe. It seems like I just left Florida. So, wanted to go over the results with you guys. Also, give you the prize money amounts if you didn't know how much money these guys and girls, men and women, made. So, let's kick it off. And you guys can debate and argue in the comments because the thing about the Olympia, these are the best athletes in the world. So, every one of them has legions of fans out there, as they should. They're the best in the world. When your guy doesn't win or your girl doesn't win, a lot of times you think it's bullshit. Terrible decision. I actually thought the judging was very, very well done this year. I didn't see a lot of gifts being given, and I thought they were very fair with the judging in almost every case. So let's start with the Open. I'm only going to do top five, guys, top five, because we have 8 divisions to get through. I'll start with the winner, Rami. Rami won $400,000, well earned. This was the Rami I've been waiting to see for years and years, as well as everybody else. Brought his waist in, was leaner, tighter, had a little better separation. His presentation was much better, and that was mostly due to working so closely in the last 3 weeks in Arizona, where he stayed with his good friend Dennis James, who worked him for hours every day on the posing. That sounds excessive. Like, why aren't you worrying about the training, the cardio, the diet? Because the posing had a big role this year. We saw guys fading on stage. We saw them getting gassed and tired, having trouble, shaking, bending over. They couldn't breathe. And the people that really worked on their posing, guys like Rami and a few others you saw, they were kept their composure, able to keep posing, make it look easy. That's how it should be. So big Rami. Mamdou LSVA, congratulations, $400,000. Second place, our reigning Olympia champion was Brandon Curry. Knocked down to second just by a better bodybuilder, man. You know, Brandon's incredible. I love Brandon's shape. Yeah, you know, you could say his legs could be bigger. They could be. I think that's something he's going to keep trying to improve on. I don't know if it would have even mattered in this case. Rami was just so dominating this year. This was his year, guys. Sometimes you see them come out and you just know it right away. That's the guy. That's your winner this year. And that Rami was the man this year. Phil Heath coming back, trying to get his 8th title, $100,000 for Phil this time. Not the Phil Heath that I recall from those years where he was just dominant. 2011, 2012, 2013, even 2014. That was a span of years where he was just pretty much unbeatable. Even Kai Green at his best couldn't knock him down. Wasn't quite that Phil. The back looked a little bit downsized to me. The chest looked a little downsized. Condition on Friday, not what I'm used to seeing with Phil. Don't get me wrong. He still looked great. But, you know, we hold these people to the standard of what they've shown us before, their best. Unfortunately, that's what they're always going to be compared to. Phil also, I saw some issues with him controlling the midsection as the judging went on. And head judge Steve Weinberg, he worked the hell out of these guys. They would come out for a comparison. They would have to go through all the poses, the mandatory poses. Then he'd move one guy. They do all the poses again. This is no break. Move another guy from here to there. You know, William, get between Rami and Hadi or whatever. And it just went on and on. And that's where you see the endurance factor. The people that really worked on their posing were able to keep tight and keep their poses on point the way they were supposed to. The other guys, it was tough. And you also saw some of their condition fade. A big part of that was because Friday night when these guys went out, it was like, 11:30 at night. So the show started at 7. I'm sure these guys thought they were going to be up much earlier than they were. But they, the show ran long. It was the first promotion in this new venue and everything. I don't know what the reasons were, but it went long. 4th place, Hadi Chupin, $45,000. I saw that Hadi was actually 2nd place after judging. He was 2nd place behind Rami. He was ahead of Brandon. He was ahead of Phil. Brandon and Phil tightened up a little bit for Saturday. Hadi stayed the same. I guess that was enough to put them ahead of Hadi. But, you know, Hadi looked amazing. He's one of the very best. I still think he looked a little better last year, personally. Anyway, 5th place, William Bonac. William Bonac from France, $40,000. William was on point. William brought his A game. He was up significantly, but he was up about 15 pounds from last year's Olympia, where he took 2nd behind Brandon. Tremendous showing. So that top 5 was all very, very strong. But congratulations to Rami. Rami just brought his A game this time like never before. I was worried. Should Phil retire? That's up to Phil, you know. I'm not mixing Friday and Saturday. I was there both days. Yeah, Phil looked better to me on Saturday. Hadi improved a lot by Saturday night. Well, I'm telling you, he was leading. He was in second place after Friday, and he ended up in fourth place. So I don't know what the hell happened. 212 division. Phil was worse on Saturday. We're moving on to 212, guys. You can keep arguing about it. Don't argue with me because I got to keep going. 212 division. Very happy for Sean Clarita, the Giant Killer from New Jersey. $50,000 to win the 212 Olympia. Not as nice as $400 for the Open, but, nice payday. Sean definitely deserved it. I think Kamal's got a beautiful physique, tremendous symmetry, shape, crazy muscle detail, maturity, density. Everything flows on that guy. Sean was just too much. Sean had this beautiful shape, reminded me of a little bit of Flex Wheeler. Just round, bubbly muscles, tiny, tiny little joints. Did Hadi deserve to be second place? It's all debate, guys. Like I said, top 5 here, they're all amazing. You could shuffle them around. I'm sure there's people out there who thought Williams should have won. I'm sure there's people among you that thought Hadi should have won. Phil, Brandon, Rami. It's all subjective opinion. It's what you like and whose physique you prefer. So, you can make arguments for almost any of these guys. And like I said, a lot of you will, because you have your favorite and you wanted your favorite to win. If your favorite didn't win, you probably think he should have won. What happened to David Henry? David looked good, but man, I would have put him a little higher for sure, but I think he ended up in 11th. Yeah. 212, that's what we're getting to now. So Sean Clarita, 183 pounds at what he says is 5'2". I say 5'1", maybe even a little shorter than that. But whatever it is, he was packed full of round, full muscles. Crazy look to him, and he was in great condition. It was too much for Kamal this time. Which is better X factor? Shot for shot, Hadi's conditioning was better than Phil's. Yeah, I would say Hadi's condition was better for sure. Do you think Kai Green could have placed top 6? Yeah, definitely. Kai was second to Phil when Phil was in his prime. Kai would have been top 6 for sure. I don't know where he would have fell in this lineup. I don't know what he would look like now. He hasn't competed in 4 years. I assume he would look pretty close to the same, but he's 45 years old. Hasn't competed since spring of 2016. So Sean Clarita, $50,000. Kamal El-Gardni, the Lion of Libya, living in the UK, moving to Florida soon. Where would Flex Lewis have placed? Probably second. I don't think Flex at his best was going to beat Rami. I don't know who could beat Rami right now. The way he looked. Rami calves too small. Yeah, but you know what? So are Ronnie, so are Dexter's calves. Calves don't make or break a Mr. Olympia competitor. It's if 99% of the physique looks great and the calves don't, it's a total package show. If it came down to calves, Mike Matarazzo would have been Mr. Olympia, Eric Fankhauser, Ben Pakulski, all these guys the late Paul DeMeo, they all had phenomenal calves. Kamal had to settle for second, unfortunately. He will be back, I'm sure. That was $20,000. Third place, George the Bull Peterson. In his Olympia debut as a 212, he had been up there 3 times previously as a classic physique competitor where he took third. What do you got? Do you think Flex would beat Sean in 212? Yeah, Flex Lewis at his best, I think still would have. He was pretty damn dominant as a 212. George Peterson looked fantastic. He's got a very unique look to him. He's the tallest guy for sure in that class at 5'8". I mean, not many places where being 5'8" makes you tall, but in this 212 Olympia, it did. But props to George. He looked really good, and his coach Justin. Derek Lunsford in 4th place, 6,000. Derek, Derek will be back stronger. He had a great year. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he was a little flat. Things weren't really popping on him. He looked a lot better from the back. From the front, to me, he looked downsized. He looked like he lost some size and fullness. I don't know why. I don't know what the case is, but, I'm rooting for the kid. He's a good guy. He works so hard. Rami looked confident, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Rami holds this title for a few years at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all, especially if he keeps getting better. Where, now he's with a coach that seems to work well with him, Chad Nichols. He's got also Dennis James helping him with training. Newcomer Hassan Mustafa. Yeah, Hassan's very good too. So Derek will be back, but this year he had to settle after 2 years in second place. He had to settle for 4th place. Another guy who was runner-up twice in his first 2 Olympias, 2016 and 2017, Ahmad Ashkanani from Kuwait, down to 5th place, which is actually where he placed last year. $4,000 for that. Ahmad looks really good. My only knock on Ahmad is he needs more quads from the front. They don't look that good. And the weird thing is, when he turns to the side, he's got some of the best hamstrings in the sport. They come out of nowhere. They look like a crescent moon hanging. That ham drop that we talk about, he has that. But his quads, I don't know if it's injury situation or why, but they don't have a lot of sweep to them. And you need that when you're. He's such a wide guy. He's got super wide back. He's known for his back, of course. Super wide clavicles, small waist, but then the legs, they don't flare out like you want them to make that really good X frame. What are you guys seeing? Kai will return? I hope so. Why didn't Iris Kyle compete? You can go to her Instagram, Iris Kyle. It's just her name, and she talks all about it. Respiratory and circulatory problems. I had wrongfully assumed. Usually when someone pulls out at the last minute medically, it's something to do with diuretics. They messed up with their diuretics and they went over dehydrated and their kidneys are being whatever. That wasn't the case. She talks about it on her Instagram. Go to Instagram, Iris Kyle, and she'll lay it all out for you. Let's get into classic physique. Massive congratulations to 25-year-old Chris Bumstead from Canada. 2 Olympia titles at age 25. That's pretty badass. Lee Haney did that, but Lee Haney had 2 Olympias by age 25, but we haven't seen that in long time. He made real improvements, very significant improvements. Ian Valliere, his coach, also his brother-in-law, he put up a really cool post with back shot from 2019 and 2020. And man, you could see the improvements. This kid brought up his back, he brought up his arms. It wasn't as apparent to me watching it because he always looks great to me. But when I saw those pictures, it's on Ian Valliere's, I think it's just his name, Ian Valliere. If you can spell Ian, it's I-A, he spells it weird. It's I-A-I-N and then Valliere. But very impressed with the improvements he made. It was enough to lock down the title again for sure. What do you think of just Sarah winning the women's league? We'll get to that. I'm going to talk about all the divisions, guys. We're going to be here a little while. So Chris Bumstead, congratulations, $30,000. At the judging, I had him beating Breon. I thought it was a clear case, and Breon looked great. Don't get me wrong, but we have talked about there is a new standard as far as they're looking for more of structure. It's not exactly judged the way bodybuilding is, where it's this body part. Breon still has arms that are way better than Chris. Is never going to have arms like Breon. I'm sorry to say, Breon's just got freakish genetics, huge peaked biceps, bulging triceps. They insert down to his friggin' elbow. Chris is never going to have arms like him. He's probably never going to have a back quite like Breon. But Breon's got a short torso. He's not as wide. Structurally, I put up on my Instagram, Ron Harris Muscle, and I think MD reposted it. Just a side-by-side shot of him in the front relaxed pose, and you could see the difference structurally between the two. It's not just height, it was a structure. Chris has really wide shoulders and upper back, tiny little waist, V-taper. And because he's got a longer torso, he's taller, the V-taper is a lot more pronounced. It's hard to have a better V-taper when you have a short torso. If you guys don't know what a torso is, I'm talking about like from the neck to the waistline. Man, so it was clear to me, and it was probably the most, I don't want to say aggressive, but they were going at it. Breon more so was the instigator, bumping elbows and trying to, every time they would hit like bicep poses, he's putting his elbow over, putting his arm over Chris's arm, trying to block him out. Rami's legs are too big. Yeah, I've been saying that for years, guys. I wish you would downsize his legs just a little bit to match, so everything up top would match better. But Breon came to the finals on Saturday evening. I don't know what went wrong. I'm gonna get an interview with him next week. I don't know if he spilled over or something. He looked a little flat to me. Wasn't quite as detailed and dry, and that was enough to knock him down. Some people were saying it's because of his antics during the judging that the judges punished him. It wasn't. His physique definitely. The placings typically don't change like that unless the physiques change. And Breon's physique changed for the worse, unfortunately. Terrence looked just as good, if not better, than he did the next night. Terrence Ruffin. And Terrence also had the greatest posing routine of the show, probably. Couldn't have hurt. So Terrence Ruffin ended up in second place, $10,000. Breon, the 2-time champ. What's it say? Rami can make improvements. Yeah, sure. Kaike. Well, we won't talk about Kaike because it wasn't in the top 5, but I'm very sure he'll be in the top 5 very soon. He just needs to get a little bigger. Kaike, Carlos. He's from Boston. I should know how to pronounce it. So Breon knocked down to third place. but he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back as a classic or a 212. I don't know if he knows that yet, but I'm certainly going to ask him that next week when we talk. Jones, which Jones? We're getting there. We're going all the way down to the top 5, guys. Be patient. 4th place, your reigning Arnold Classic champion, Alex Cambronero, originally from Costa Rica, $3,000. Yeah, Alex looked just as good as he did at the Arnold, and that was pretty damn good. I mean, Neil Hill is his coach, prepped him perfectly again. He peaked a little tight midsection, beautiful shape on him. And the funny thing about it, man, Alex, is he was a 212, and he won, I want to say, 5 or 6 shows as a 212 before moving over to Classic. So and it's pretty much the same physique. He didn't need to drop down. I think it's the same weight. He's still competing at the same weight because he was never a massive guy. He's got a small bone structure. He's able to create the illusion of more weight and more mass than what you see. It's just a very nice shape to him. And rounding out the top 5, a guy I think we all need to have our eye on, Brian Jones in 2nd place. Brian's a new guy. I never heard of him until, what do you say now? Great Olympia, well-deserved, Hadi, yeah. Cholasand, Instagram, yeah. Sorry, we're sticking to top 5, guys. I'm sorry because we got 8 divisions we're talking about here, so sorry if I'm not getting to the 14th place guy. Brian Jones, that's with a Y, B-R-Y-A-N Jones. I saw him for the first time a couple months ago at the Chicago Pro, which was in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, what a messed up this year this has been. Very impressive. I called him the Kai Green of Classic because he had the long braids tied up in like a bun, but, not a Kai Green physique because this guy's he's taller. He looks about 6 foot. Tiny little waist, wide shoulders, flaring quads, and he hits a lot of very unique poses in his posing routine. And a lot of the way he hits his mandatories, he's tweaked all the mandatory poses a little bit to suit his particular physique. I like the guy's look a lot. I think he's someone to watch. He's going to be moving up. I mean, 5th place in his first Olympia, nobody knew who he was unless, you were at the Chicago Pro. He had no hype going into the show. He doesn't have a big sponsor. He doesn't have like hundreds of thousands or 1 million followers on social media like that. But it's about the physique, guys. It's funny how people still talk about, well, you have to kiss the judges' asses and you have to have a sponsor that's also sponsoring the show. And what else do they say you need to have? They just say it's all politics. It's this and that. But there were so many decisions here that if it was political, they would have went very differently. If they were basing it on who's their sponsor was, or they trained at a gym of the head judge or something. I've heard everything, guys. But man, the conspiracy theories always run wild. Yeah, excuses, exactly. Like I said, you all have your favorites. You want your favorite to win. You believe your favorite should win no matter what. And sometimes, there were guys in last place in some of these things with shredded glutes. This is the Olympia. This is the best of the best of the best. So you can look amazing and still place last at the Olympia. That's how good it is. And you could say, well, why? Because the other guy was just a little better. When you have, it's kind of like, the Olympics sprinting. What's the difference in the finish times of the winner versus the guy that places 10th place? They're like split seconds. They're ridiculously small increments of time. And that's very a good analogy for the way the Olympia is judged because, they have to try to find a little bit of some flaw. It's the guy with the least amount of flaws. It's not, someone will say, well, this guy had the best legs or this guy had the best back. It's not a leg contest, not a back contest. It's not a condition contest. It's a total package and they're looking at. And these judges have a tough time, guys. They really do. You think it's easy. You would just vote for the guy you like, but they can't do that. They need to be fair and try to look at, some of these divisions, like men's physique and bikini had 40, 41 competitors in each of those. And they all looked amazing. Trust me, they all looked awesome. But the judges have to figure out first place, second place, and keep going down the line. Not easy. So going to men's physique, Brendan Hendrickson took the title. Brandon Hendrickson, which I believe he had a couple years ago, right? $35,000 for him. Raymond Edmonds, second place. He was the reigning Olympia champ. He won last year. Got knocked down by Brandon, $12,000. Kyron Holden, always up in the top spot. Third place, $8,000. Jeremy Potvin, another very consistent competitor. Fourth place and $4,000. And fifth place went to Andre Deiu. Would it just be Do? Potvin made incredible placing, yeah. $2,000 for him. Let's get into Ms. Olympia. This was the return of the Ms. Olympia after 7 years away. Of course, I was dying to see what Iris Kyle looked like after all this time away. Milos Sharshev, who did a lot of the wrap-ups with me, he's in Las Vegas. He saw Iris 2 weeks before the show and said she was just looking crazy. She would have won, in his opinion, hands down. It wouldn't have even been close. But she had to withdraw on Friday. You are Dubai? Great country. Wish I could go there. In America, the only people that get to go to Dubai are these Instagram quote-unquote models that get flown over there for, I don't know what they're being flown over for, guys. Some dudes over there are flying all these hot young American girls from Instagram over to Dubai because they're posting from the beaches and the high-rises with the Lamborghinis. And I'm getting ahead of myself. So the winner of the Ms. Olympia, I had never heard of her until a couple weeks before. Her name is Andrea Shaw. She had just won the Rising Phoenix World Championships in Arizona a couple weeks before. Quality Mr. O, nosedive. Irish ready to go any day? Yeah, she's always checked. An Arab Prince, Michael Edwards, that ain't going to happen, man. It's hard enough to get me in a suit. You're not going to see me in a suit unless someone's getting married or someone just died. Otherwise, I'm not going to wear a suit. So Arab Prince, no. Casablanca, that's Morocco, right? Anyway, so Andrea Shaw, Olympia title comes back. She's the first Ms. Olympia we've had since, I want to say 2013 or 2014, $50,000. I think she made at least that much at the Rising Phoenix because Jake Wood promotes that show. And she got a brand new awesome car. If you go to the Wings of Strength Instagram, there's pictures of the car. Can't remember what it was, but it was pretty. He always gives away something that's like customized. It's worth about $100,000 with all the customizations done to it. Second place, Marvelous Margie Martin, $20,000. Margie had talked a lot of smack, trying to hype up the show, trying to make it exciting about wanting to put Iris back into retirement, but unfortunately she never got the chance to stand next to Iris this year. I saw that. So Margie, Marvelous Margie, second place, $20,000. Hella Trevino, another very consistent champion over the past few years. Third place, $12,000. Mayla Ash, also an excellent competitor, a lot of size, big frame. Fourth place and $7,000. Oh, I didn't write down Irene Anderson's, how much money she got for fifth place. I'm going to assume if it went 50, 20, 12, 7, probably went down to like 4 or something like that. Raised the prize money. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Rami is not from the Middle East. Egypt is in Africa, guys. I don't know how many of you know geography anymore. Do they even teach that in school? Probably not. But yeah, Egypt is in North Africa. So this is your first African Olympia champion, as far as I know, from the continent of Africa. Good job, man. Yeah. Yeah, Abdul, I wouldn't call Egypt the Middle East. It's North Africa, right? Is that considered Middle East, like Morocco, Algeria? I know they're Muslim countries, but I don't think they're Libya. Libya's in North Africa too. But anyway, let's move on. Bikini. I know you guys are all big bikini fans, but let me tell you, what a top 5. Top 5 was so good this year that the reigning Olympia champion, and she also won the Arnold earlier this year from Brazil, Isa Piccini, she didn't even make top 5. She was 6th. And I had a sneaking suspicion that was going to happen because the first call out for Bikini was the top 5 and her. And they called her out. She was on the left, and they never moved her. They never put her in the middle, which I thought was kind of odd because she was the reigning champion. I thought they would at least compare her side by side with everybody. But she didn't get moved around a whole lot. So after the Brazilians have had a chokehold, a stranglehold on the Bikini title for years now, because Isa won last year. And then I think before that, it was Angelica for 3 years in a row, Angelica Teixeira. So we finally have an American. And not only that, she's a little older. She's in her mid-30s, I think, Janet. She's got kids. She's not some young 23-year-old from Brazil with no kids. She's a mom. Janet Leag, congratulations, $50,000. I like the name Janet. I've been married to one for almost 30 years. Second place from Canada, Jennifer Dory, $20,000. Jennifer looked phenomenal. She's getting better and better, obviously. This was her best showing at the Olympia. And, man, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes it next year. Beautiful woman. I'm sort of friends. I don't like to use the word friends lightly because, it's not like I get to hang out with these people all the time. But he's a good dude, Mark Anthony, her boyfriend. And, he's been saying, watch out. She's going to bring something to the Olympia this year. And, everyone says that. But she really looked phenomenal this year. Third place, Etila Santiago Santos from Brazil, $12,000. Tilla was on the cover of MD. What does that say? Who you got? Kai Green versus Big Ramy? Oh, man. Jen and Attila. I would say, I'd say still big Rami, you know. I'm a Kai Green fan, but Rami impressed the hell out of me this year. And I've been critical of him in the past. You guys know, if you guys watch my videos and the wrap-ups and stuff, I've always been very critical of Rami because I wanted more. I wanted to see more from him. I could see the potential. I could see how good he could be. Not like he needed to be bigger. That's not what I mean by that. Just working on things like muscle separation, detail, bringing in the waist. I wanted to see more of that, and he did. He brought that. Rami improves his back. Yeah. So, yeah. Moving on down, sorry. Fourth place was former Olympia bikini champ Angelica Teixeira, $7,000. I thought she looked much, much better this year than she did last year. I think she said she flattened out. She did something with her carbs or water last year, or they had her posing too long out there. Something she flattened out. It was too buff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Technically correct, but Al Maghrib is Morocco. Yeah, you guys can argue about what the Middle East is. I don't want to get into that debate. Fifth place from Canada, Laura-Lee Chapados, the girlfriend of 2018 Olympia champ Sean Roden. Sixth place. Laura-Lee getting better and better. But this is just, it was a tough lineup, man. Like I said, the reigning champ didn't even make the top 5. And it's not like she came in looking like crap. She looked pretty damn good. It's just, I think that is the toughest division to judge. I think I could judge any of these other divisions, even men's physique. I could judge them pretty well, but bikini, I would have a very, very hard time because they all have kind of a similar look and they're all gorgeous. Who do you pick? Great conditioning, yeah. Figure. Okay, so Sydney Gillen, no surprise. I believe this is her third title. She got another one, $50,000. Sydney's pretty much the poster girl. She looks like the figure trophy that they give out at some shows. I mean, it's perfect genetics. Kai will be back next year. I don't think Aaron Singerman would sign Kai if Kai hadn't had some sort of either commitment or intentions of being in the Olympia again next year. You know, the clock's running out. He'll be 46 by the time the Olympia comes around next year. And, you know, you only have so much time in your life to be a great bodybuilder. It's not like he can come back when he's like 55 and expect to be beating people like the way Rami looked or something. I think Kai will be back next year. Obviously, I don't know for sure. I hope he does. I'm a Kai fan. I think the Olympia should have all the best people in the world. Like, I was bummed that Flex Lewis wasn't in it this year. Cedric, Nathan DeAsha. I want all the best people in the show. Egypt's North Africa. Well, you guys can read the comments and learn about Egypt. Rolly Winkler, another guy I really wanted to see in that lineup. Like I said, the Olympia should have all the best people in the world. It had 16 guys, and I think we were missing like 4 or 5. That would have made it an even better show. It was a great show. Don't get me wrong. And I have to say that. What a job the promoters did. Dan Solomon, Jake Wood, the owner, Tamarel Gundy, Heather, this whole crew that they had. They put this thing together quickly. They had 5 weeks to move it from Planet Hollywood and this awesome Zappos theater where everything was already set up for them to a big ballroom in Orlando, Florida at a convention center. And they did a hell of a job, man. The biggest stage, Olympia stage, was 300 feet across. There were 4 or 6, these huge monitors. The music was so loud, you could feel it in your bones. It was really amazing production job on their part. So back to figure. Sydney Gillen was first. Natalia Soltero from Mexico on her way up. She's never done this well before. Second place, $20,000. Nadia Wyatt in third place, $12,000. Fourth place, Nicole Zenobia Graham, $7,000. Just a side note about Nicole. Occasionally she'll hit like poses. She'll put her arms up and do like a victory pose. She'll hit like a bicep pose. Do I think Sean will win 212 again? I don't know if he will. I have to have a drink, guys. I'm getting cotton mouth. I think he will. But I don't know. Kamal could look better next year. If Sean improves even more, though, you know, Sean might hold that title for a while. We've seen, Flex had it. Flex Lewis had it for 7 years. Kamal won it. And then now we have Sean. So we've had 3 different 212 Olympias in the last 3 years. We've had 2018, 19, we've had 4 different Mr. Olympias in the last 4 years because 2017 was Phil, 2018 was Roden, 2019 was Brandon, 2020 was Rami. We've had 4 different Mr. Olympias in 4 years. I think it's exciting like that. It makes it more dramatic when you have a change in the champions like that all the time, because then you got storylines. You got people wanting to get their title back. You got another guy who's wanting to keep his title. Oh, I missed it. Anyway, these things, I'm doing this on my phone, guys, and your comments only show up for like 2 seconds, then they disappear. So fifth place to round out figure was Latoria Watts in sixth place. She looked great too. Kamal 50 next year. That's right. Yeah, he just turned 49. We don't know when the show's going to be. Someone messaged me yesterday asking me, where's the Olympia going to be next year and what's the date so they can plan for it? I say, dude, they don't even know yet. They don't know. They were at the the victory seminar, which had all the division winners and a couple other people there. And Dan Solomon was there, and people could ask questions after. Bob Ciccarello went and interviewed each one of them, and then they opened up the floor to questions. And a couple people, they didn't want to ask the athletes. They were asking Dan Solomon questions. I want to share the first question just because it was kind of, I don't want to say silly. Everyone has a right to ask questions. But the guy, it was for VIP ticket holders, that seminar, and the media. That was it. There wasn't a lot because there was social distancing. There wasn't much room, many seats available. And the guy asked Dan, he said, Thursday night they had the Meet the Olympians, and I came a long way and I spent a lot of money to be here, and all I wanted to do was shake Phil Heath's hand and take a picture with him, and I couldn't do that because Phil wasn't there. He says, why don't you make it mandatory in the Olympia athlete contract that they have to be at the Meet the Olympians Thursday night for the fans? And oh yeah, I should have gone back and said Akim Williams because, geez, Akim has leveled up, man. Akim is he's improved so much in the past couple of years. I'm not even going to say he couldn't win. I think he could win the Olympia in a couple of years. Who knows? Why not? He's getting better and better. He's got a crazy physique. People never thought Rami was going to win. I mean, well, obviously his fans did, but a lot of other people just wrote him off, saying he'll never win the Olympia. That's never going to happen. Ronnie Coleman, for the first few years he competed, nobody would have thought he was going to ever be Mr. Olympia. First couple of years, Cutler competed, same thing. People would say, nah, ain't going to happen. But, Akim could do it. So let me get back to the question. So the guy wanted to know, he was asking Dan Solomon, why isn't it in the contract that these guys have to be there? All the athletes should have to be there for the fans. And Dan said, it is in the contract. It's always been in the contract. It always will be in the contract. But I should say, as soon as the guy was done, someone in the audience whispered, I said it under my breath, but some guy said, you ever hear of coronavirus? So they had to make it legally, they had to make it optional for the athletes to go to this because, the fans are coming up, shaking hands, they're in your face, masks. We don't know if masks totally prevent everything. So some people, they didn't want to take that chance. They didn't want to put themselves in risk, especially maybe they've got someone in their household, a small child or an elderly person or a significant other that has one of these underlying conditions like asthma or something where catching COVID could be like a death sentence, man. I mean, they could die. So they had to make it optional for the athletes to be at this. And Phil and some of the other athletes chose not to attend. So that's why. Getting back. So the last division we'll talk about, guys, is women's physique. This is one of the biggest upsets of the show because, Shanique Grant, she's one of those people with just spectacular, almost perfect genetics. As close to, what's this about Egypt again? Man, too much geography today, guys. I'm sorry. Now I'm sorry I even brought that up. So Shanique Grant, she's had it 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row. What a crazy physique on Shanique, but she came in a little smaller this year. Not quite as conditioned. I don't know if that's what cost her the title. Sarah Villegas is the champion. Congrats to Sarah. First place, $40,000. She definitely had better condition. Shape and structure, I'd still give it to Shanique all day. And because I'm a big shape and structure person, I probably still would have given it to Shanique. But, the judges, like I said, I thought they did a great job. The wrong choice for the future of the women's physique. Yeah, if you believe that it shouldn't be about extreme conditioning, which when the division was created back in 2013, we had its first champ, Dana Lynn Bailey. They weren't supposed to have. And then Juliana Malacarne won it for years. Juliana was never that lean. I mean, she was lean, don't get me wrong. She was never shredded and dry, grainy. She never had striated glutes or anything like that. But, Sarah did. It's just tough. They can say all day, we don't want this, we don't want that. But then when you have people on stage, it's hard not to be impressed by condition. But, congrats to Sarah. She won it fair and square, first place. Shanique had to settle for second place, $18,000. I'm very sure she'll be back. Shanique. Third place, the youngster, I think she's only 23. She's been competing since Natalia Abraham Coelho. I believe she's been competing since like 14 or 15. I think she turned pro in figure when she was only like 17. I believe she's only like 23 now, and working on her master's degree or something. Anyway, great girl. Congrats to her. Third place, $12,000. Fourth place from France, Barbara Minaj, $6,000. Clean shaven head. I never heard of her until this year, but she has a heck of a physique. We all know who she is now. In fifth place, from Brazil, now living in the USA, Ivy Rain, IVI Rain, RHEIN. Fifth place and $4,000. Congrats to her. Women's physique, it's a pretty big class. A lot of tough competition. Any questions, guys? Flex would place second this year. Yeah, I don't think he was beating Rami, and I always have to say this. It's like a broken record. No disrespect to Flex. I'm a huge Flex Lewis fan. I do consider him a friend. I think he's got an incredible physique. Dominated 212. Literally can't miss a bald, muscular woman. Literally is the Chad Nichols catchphrase. Yes. Rami size. You think mass monsters are going to make a comeback? No, there are no trends. There are no trends at the Olympia. Like when Sean Roden won, everyone's like, oh, okay, well, now they're going for more of a streamlined classic look. And then 2019, Brandon won. He's got a great classic shape and everything to him, but it didn't prove anything. Now Rami wins. Does that mean, we're going to have all these mass monsters coming in? And no. It's still about the best physique. Mass monster, that term could be used so loosely. Like, Hadi Choopan's like 5'4", but he's a mass monster. Akeem obviously is. I wouldn't consider Brandon Curry a mass monster. Phil, you can make that argument. And Bonac, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be about the best physique. So it's impossible to say there's a trend. I don't think there's a trend. Yeah, Chad and DJ is the best thing for Rami. I agree. The Camel Crew, they had a heck of a run with Rami, and he did very well. But I heard a lot of people say, "Do I think Rami can make improvements in his back?" Yeah, why not? He's only 36 years old. I think Hadi versus Flex Lewis. A lot of people want to see that rematch. Camel Crew just hating. They did a good job with him, but for whatever reason, Rami left, and he wanted to try something different. Chad Nichols. Chad worked with Ronnie Coleman for every single one of his Olympia wins. He knows how to work and peak. He knows how to work with these big guys that are 270 to 300 pounds and peak them. And I think it is probably a lot more challenging with someone that size and that much muscle because so much can go wrong. You don't see the 212 guys out of shape because they have to make a weight. You don't see classic guys out of shape very often because they have to get down to a weight. So they're always in condition. With the big guys, and there's no weigh-in or anything like that, it's a lot easier for them or their coach or whoever makes the call to say, I'm going to come in big and full. And when they do that, sometimes they sacrifice condition. But you know what? Sometimes they try to push for more condition. They get real flat and the muscles don't push up against skin. And then it looks like they're not in condition. It's tough, man. It's so hard for these guys to peak. There's so many variables, so much involved. Hunter was slightly better than Ian. Ian was good, yeah. Do I see a new era? Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of guys on the way up now, but that's we had Dexter on the way out. It's not like a new era starts at one show. It's, the old guard starts phasing out and leaving the sport. Like, I don't think if Phil comes back next year, I don't see him going much longer than that. He's in his 40s now. He had a heck of a. Oh, thank you, Drew. Appreciate that, man. So you're always going to have that in any sport. You're going to have. Who'd Redcon sign? I know they signed Kai. Who else did they sign? I would, unless this just was announced. I haven't heard of. They signed Kai. Yeah, okay, that I knew. Yeah. I actually did an interview with Aaron Singerman that's up on this same channel. If you go back like 20 videos at this point, talked about why he signed him and everything. What about Shanique? Yeah, we talked about it. You got to go back. You have to wait till I'm done, then rewind or something. Complete your thoughts. Well, I'm trying to answer all these questions at the same time. That's a problem. Rami, Merry Christmas. Barbara Minaj is 50 years old. Wow, props to her. Yeah, I noticed a lot of times, not in bikini, obviously, but they're not in figure, but in women's physique and bodybuilding, the women do tend to be older. I think they get into it at a later age, the training and everything, and competing. And also, a lot of them move up from other divisions. Like some of these women bodybuilders moved up from Physique. A lot of Physique women moved up from Figure. And that, in most cases, that takes a few years to add that much more muscle to be successful in another division. Should Hadi have taken third? I had no, I wouldn't have had a big problem with Hadi beating Phil. A lot of people wouldn't have. Judges felt that Phil still looked good enough overall to beat Hadi. You know, that's a matter of opinion. I don't think there would have been, there was a lot of booing when Hadi got fourth. I can tell you that. There certainly would have been no argument. If he had beaten Phil, there would have been booing too, because Phil has a ton of fans. So, like I said, you all have your favorites. Drew Titan, good to see you're into boxing. Oh, anyway. Phil over Brandon, your opinion? Because Phil started having those issues with his midsection, and they came back on Saturday at the finals. It started blurring out, washing out, and bulging on the sides. I still would have had Brandon this time. I thought Brandon looked better than Phil this year. At his best, Phil was almost unbeatable. You know, nobody could beat him. Even Kai looked fantastic those 3 years in a row, and he couldn't beat Phil. Phil in even 2010, the year Jay beat him, I had Phil winning that year. I had Phil winning that year. 2011, the first year he won, that was one of the greatest looks any Mr. Olympia has ever had. Phil Heath at the 2011 Olympia. Google the images or something if you don't believe me. He looked phenomenal. He doesn't look like that right now. I don't know if he can get that look back. If he can, who knows, you know? That's what's exciting about this. I don't know if you covered it. I think Shanique would have won. Yeah, I did. I already covered that. I had her winning. She was smaller, but I still had her. And no disrespect. All-time Mr. Olympia? No, I'm not going into all that, guys. You know, Sarah looked great. Shanique was a little downsized. Like I said, I'm more about shape and structure. I wouldn't pick someone just because they had better condition. You don't get me wrong. Sarah has good shape too, but Shanique is, you know, just blessed from that. Gods. Anyway, guys, Rami will move next year. I hope so. I'd love to see Rami living in the USA. You know, I'm sure the Egyptian people wouldn't be too happy about that because they want him there. But man, I think he'd do great, especially if he lived and could train with Dennis James. If he lived in Phoenix, then man, maybe he would hold the title for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Who knows? All right, guys, that's my wrap up recap. Glad you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. Had a little debates. Like I said, it's all subjective. You have your opinions, and you know you're not wrong. Whatever your opinion is, that's your opinion. It's not like this is a sport where the guy who crosses the finish line first wins, or the team that puts the ball in the hoop the most time wins. It's not like that. Oh, thank you for your donation. Appreciate it. The Egyptian president is giving him money. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. Well, there you go. Yeah, in the February issue of MD that's going to come out in a couple weeks, Kamal Al-Gharni talked about why he stayed in amateur so long, and he had such a great deal representing Qatar for several years. Man, they paid him like $200,000 a year, and then there was big bonuses for every international show that he won first at. They paid for his house, his car. I mean, he was making more money than just about all the pros, maybe except for 4 or 5 pros were maybe making that kind of money that he was making. So that's good to hear that the Egyptian president's going to be giving Rami some money to stay there. I'm sure he'd rather live in Egypt. That's where he's from, his family and everything. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it very much. And please check out all our other videos that we have up from the Olympia. We have tons of interviews and recaps and all that good stuff. Contest photos up on musculardevelopment.com. And that's it. You all have a great day. Thanks for watching.